The Earth's core is a furnace of molten rock known as the mantle. It sits beneath our feet, churning away and giving off heat. That heat rises up through the planet via convection currents. And where it reaches the surface, we call those places hotspots. They're responsible for some of the Earth's most impressive geological features, including volcanoes. But did you know that there may be even more under our oceans? It's me, and you're watching this channel. Join me today as we explore the Arctic undersea volcanoes and ask the questions, are deep tremors a warning of their existence, and how might they impact the future of the world? The ocean is vast, making up about 71% of the Earth's surface. As such, we have only explored about 5% of it. Much of what lies beneath its depths remains a mystery. While maps of the ocean floor have existed since the early 19th century, they were rudimentary at best and based mainly on soundings taken by ships. Today, though, we are discovering new seamounts, underwater mountains, and other features with increasing frequency. In fact, between 2006 and 2020, the general bathymetric chart of the oceans was updated to include over 1 million new depth soundings. One such feature found in the Arctic Ocean is a mountain range known as the Knipovich Seamounts. Located about 550 miles northwest of Norway, it was discovered in 1997 and named after Soviet geologist Alexander Knipovich. What makes these mountains unique, however, is that they are the remnants of an ancient hotspot that once rivaled the famous Hawaiian Emperor Seamount chain. According to a paper published in 2021, the mountain range was formed by a plume of hot rock that rose from deep within the Earth's mantle. Over millions of years, it created a trail of volcanic activity that stretched for hundreds of miles before eventually being extinguished. The last eruption occurred around 2 million years ago, leaving behind a series of peaks that tower as high as 2,200 meters above the surrounding sea floor. But unlike the Hawaiian Islands, which were formed by a similar hotspot and are made of solid rock, the Knipovich Seamounts are entirely underwater. This is because the ocean water is colder than the surrounding rocks, causing them to solidify quickly and preventing them from rising above the surface. As a result, they are often referred to as seamounts rather than islands. Still, they serve as a reminder that the Earth's interior is a dynamic place full of surprises. And speaking of surprises, it appears that these underwater giants may not be as dormant as previously thought. In recent years, scientists have detected signs of renewed activity in the area, including small earthquakes and unusual temperature readings. These discoveries suggest that magma could be on the move once again, posing a potential threat to the region. When it comes to the Arctic, few topics are as pressing as the potential for oil and gas exploration. The region is home to vast reserves of these valuable resources, but it also faces significant environmental challenges. In recent years, many countries have raced to stake claims in the Arctic Circle, each hoping to capitalize on the potential riches that lie beneath the ice. But this rush has raised concerns about the impact on the fragile ecosystem. In particular, there are worries that drilling operations could contaminate the water and harm the many species that call the Arctic home. Despite these concerns, the potential economic benefits of oil and gas exploration are too great to ignore. That's why it's so important to understand the risks involved and take steps to protect the environment. One of the biggest challenges facing the Arctic is the threat posed by oil spills. If drilling operations are not carried out properly, there is always the risk of an accident that could release oil into the environment. This could have devastating consequences for the local wildlife, which includes many endangered species such as polar bears and Arctic foxes. Not only would the animals themselves be affected, but their habitat would also be destroyed, making it difficult for them to survive. Another concern is the impact of drilling operations on the delicate balance of the Arctic ecosystem. The region is home to a wide variety of species that are uniquely adapted to the harsh conditions. Disrupting this ecosystem could have far-reaching consequences that we are still struggling to understand. For example, the noise and pollution generated by drilling operations could scare away fish, which could in turn affect the animals that rely on them for food. Despite these concerns, the potential economic benefits of oil and gas exploration are hard to ignore. The Arctic is thought to contain vast reserves of these valuable resources, and tapping into them could bring in much-needed revenue to the countries involved. It's a tough balance to strike, but it's one that we need to get right if we want to protect the Arctic for future generations. A team of researchers led by Professor Richard A. Feen of the University of Cambridge used data collected from a Russian research vessel in 2010 to create detailed maps of the seamounts. Their findings were published in the journal Quaternary Science Reviews. What they discovered was surprising. Contrary to what scientists had assumed, the seamounts were found to be geologically young, having formed just 8,000 years ago. This discovery suggested that the hotspots responsible for their creation may still be active, meaning that there could be a dormant volcano hiding beneath the Arctic waters. To confirm their suspicions, the researchers turned to seismic data collected by the same Russian vessel. They analyzed the speed at which sound waves traveled through the seafloor and found that it was slower than expected. This indicated that the seafloor was not solid rock, but rather a porous material that could be caused by the presence of magma. Using this evidence, the team concluded that there could be a magma chamber lurking beneath the seamounts, suggesting that these underwater giants may not be as extinct as previously thought. In fact, their study suggests that they could be the site of future eruptions, which could have major implications for the surrounding environment. There is a risk of underwater volcanic eruptions in the Arctic Ocean. While it's true that the Knipovich Seamounts haven't erupted in thousands of years, the presence of a magma chamber suggests that there could be a buildup of pressure that could lead to a sudden explosion. If this were to happen, it could cause massive disruption to the surrounding ecosystem, leading to the loss of habitat and species. Thankfully, the chances of this occurring anytime soon are slim. However, it's still important to monitor the situation closely, as any eruption would have serious consequences. Underwater volcanoes are fascinating natural wonders, but they can also pose a serious threat to human life. When an underwater volcano erupts, it can cause tsunamis, which are giant waves that can travel across the ocean at speeds of up to 500 miles per hour. These waves can cause widespread destruction when they hit land, making it essential to predict when an underwater volcano will erupt so that people can be warned and evacuated if necessary. Scientists use a variety of methods to monitor underwater volcanoes and detect signs of an impending eruption. One method is to measure the frequency and intensity of earthquakes that occur near the volcano. Increased seismic activity can indicate that magma is moving and could lead to an eruption. Another method is to monitor changes in the shape of the volcano. As magma builds up beneath the seafloor, it can cause the volcano to bulge, which can be detected using satellite radar. Additionally, scientists can measure changes in the temperature of the water above the volcano, as an increase in temperature can signal that magma is nearing the surface. However, predicting when an underwater volcano will erupt remains a difficult task due to the challenges of studying these volcanoes in the first place. Research vessels equipped with sonar can map the seafloor around the volcano to identify any changes that may have occurred since the last mapping. By studying these changes, scientists can gain a better understanding of the volcano's behavior and assess the risk of an eruption. One example of a research vessel used to study underwater volcanoes is the RV Investigator, a state-of-the-art research vessel operated by Australia's National Science Agency, CSIRO. The RV Investigator is equipped with advanced technology to study the ocean, including a multi-beam echo sounder, which uses sound waves to map the seafloor. As climate change continues to alter the Arctic landscape, it's important to stay ahead of the curve and understand the potential impacts. One such impact is the increased risk of underwater volcanic eruptions. With rising temperatures, there is a greater chance that magma will melt through the frozen ground and cause an eruption. This poses a serious threat to the surrounding ecosystem and could lead to the loss of habitat and species. That's why it's so important to monitor the Arctic seamounts closely and be prepared for any eventuality. Thankfully, there are organizations like GEBCO, the General Bathymetric Chart of the Ocean, which are working to map the seamounts in greater detail and monitor any changes that occur. With their help, we can better understand the risks and protect the Arctic from any potential disaster. Thanks for watching. Do you think we should drill for oil and gas in the Arctic? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.